Everyone thinks they understand Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. A good man, a monstrous alter ego, and a potion that turns one into the other. But today, we're not just retelling the story. We're going to challenge everything you thought you knew. Because hidden inside Robert Louis Stevenson's Gothic novella is a disturbing ethical puzzle. If a person splits their mind into two, can either self be held morally responsible? Is Jekyll innocent just because Hyde did it? Or is that just the world's oldest excuse? Get ready, because after this video, you will never see Jekyll and Hyde the same way again. Jekyll wasn't a victim of science. He was a man with desires that Victorian society didn't allow him to express. He says it himself. He created Hyde to free the reckless side of his nature. But here's the ethical twist. Jekyll did not accidentally create a monster. He designed one. He wanted a vessel to carry out the impulses he refused to acknowledge in himself. Hyde wasn't an accident of chemistry. Hyde was permission. This first moment, the very creation of Hyde, raises a massive moral question. If you build a monster for your own convenience, aren't you responsible for everything that monster does? Think about it. He didn't just stumble upon this other personality. He engineered it to do the things he was too respectable to do himself. From the very beginning, Jekyll is not a passive participant. He is the architect of his own downfall, and Hyde is the blueprint. At first, Jekyll controls the transformation. He drinks the potion. He decides when Hyde appears and when he disappears. But eventually, Hyde starts emerging without the potion. Jekyll insists he lost control. But should we really believe him? Modern psychology has a term for this kind of thinking. Moral disengagement. It's when someone distances themselves from their own harmful actions. They say things like, "It wasn't me, I wasn't myself, or I couldn't stop it." Sound familiar? Is Jekyll actually losing control? Or is he just refusing to accept the consequences of the dark impulses that were always his to begin with? The ethical question deepens. How much of his loss of control was truly inevitable, and how much of it was just convenient? It's easy to say you lost control when the alternative is admitting you enjoyed the chaos. And here's where things get really disturbing. Hyde is described as smaller, deformed, almost childlike. Not because he's inherently evil, but because he's underdeveloped. He is all of Jekyll's desires, without any of the maturity, conscience, or social training that Jekyll spent a lifetime building. So, who is morally responsible here? Is it Hyde? A being literally created without the capacity for moral choice. Or is it Jekyll, the architect who built a creature capable only of indulgence and cruelty? Stevenson essentially asks, if you create a mind that cannot grasp morality, then whose crime is it? Is it Hyde's fault? Or is it the creator's neglect? This is identical to debates we have today in neuroscience. When someone has damaged brain regions affecting impulse control, how much punishment is ethically justified? Stevenson was way ahead of his time, asking these complex questions all the way back in 1886. Now let us dive into the core ethical paradox of the story. Jekyll sees Hyde as a curse, yet he also clearly enjoys what Hyde does. He writes about the thrill, the liberation, the unknown freedoms that come with being Hyde. Hyde is not just Jekyll's dark side, Hyde is Jekyll's addiction. Every crime Hyde commits, every boundary he crosses, begins with a desire that Jekyll secretly endorses. This creates a huge moral contradiction. Jekyll wants to be seen as innocent, but he also wants the pleasure of guilt-free wrongdoing. This is a classic psychological concept we now call compartmentalization. Jekyll wants to have both identities, but he only wants to take responsibility for one of them. He wants to have his cake and eat it too, without getting any crumbs on his respectable reputation. Eventually, Hyde becomes stronger, and it's not because the potion changed. It's because Jekyll's own conscience weakened. Hyde grows in power with every indulgence. Just like any destructive habit, the transformations become involuntary because Jekyll's moral self is literally shrinking. This is why Hyde starts appearing spontaneously. Jekyll is no longer the dominant personality. He's become the mask. Hyde is the truth. This is the ultimate psychological reading of the novel. Hyde is not another person. Hyde is the part of Jekyll he refused to accept finally taking over. He thought he could keep his dark side locked away, But by feeding it in secret, he made it strong enough to break down the door. So after all this, who is morally responsible? Who is guilty? The shocking and simple answer is Jekyll. Only Jekyll. He created Hyde. He enabled Hyde. He enjoyed Hyde. And when Hyde suffered, Jekyll felt the pain too, because they are not two different men. They are one man who told two different stories about himself. This makes the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde not a tale about good versus evil, but a profound warning about the dangers of self-deception. Jekyll didn't lose control to a monster. He lost control to a part of himself he refused to take responsibility for. So the real question isn't whether Hyde was the villain, it's whether Jekyll was the coward. Stevenson leaves us with a haunting idea. The darkest parts of ourselves don't become monsters until we pretend they are not us. If you hide it, deny it, and repress it, that shadow only grows, and one day, it steps out of the darkness and into the light. So, who is responsible for your Hyde? If this exploration changed how you see Jekyll and Hyde, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and tell me in the comments which character's psychology we should break down next. Thanks for watching.